Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Boston College greatly exceeded expectations in 2020, going 6-5 in Jeff Hafley's first year in Chestnut Hill. This is a team that lost to Clemson and North Carolina by a combined 10 points, now returns 18 starters, and is looking to capture their first 8-win season since 2009. So again, guys, before we get started, again, welcome to the Gridiron Expert. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe if you have not already, and make sure to check out everything down in our description below. We've got some exclusive content down there for you and some exclusive offers over on our website, thegridironexpert.com, where you can sign up for our expert picks, some of the best college football spread picks in the entire country for 3 years running now. And now, for our 5-year anniversary, you can get our NFL picks, which were also some of the best in the country in 2020. All of that over on our website, thegridironexpert.com, an offer you do not want to miss out on, and one of the lowest prices in the country as well. So make sure to go give that a look down in the description. So we take a look at Boston College, guys. We said this is a team that returns 18 starters, 9 on offense, 9 on defense. And we'll start on the offensive side of the ball, where really it all starts with the dynamic duo of their quarterback, Phil Jurkovec, and their star wide receiver, Zay Flowers. Jurkovec threw for over 2,500 yards, 17 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions in his first year with Boston College, again transferring from Notre Dame. Zay Flowers put up 892 reception yards and 9 touchdowns last season. He was a first-team ACC selection, led the conference with those 9 touchdowns, and Boston College finally found some life on offense in a way they never really did under Steve Addazio. He was more of a run-heavy coach, mediocre offense at best. Hafley came in. We started to see a lot more of this team throwing the ball, and a lot more electricity, really, from the offense, something, again, we never really saw under Steve Addazio. Where the Eagles have to improve is on the run game, though. The Eagles, usually a strength for them under Steve Addazio, only average 101.7 rushing yards per game, good enough for 118th in the entire country. Their star running back, David Bailey, is now gone. They've got a lot to fix on that side of the ball, at least on that side of the offense going into 2021. Defensively, they returned 9 starters as well. That was also usually a strength under Steve Addazio. It was not in 2019, a major reason why he was let go. Jeff Hafley was a brilliant defensive mind, comes in from Ohio State, and transformed this Eagles defense, one that ranked 125th in 2019, got them up to 73rd in total defense in 2020. So while that's not great, that's still middle of the pack. You went from one of the worst in the country to middle of the pack, and we expect that to improve even more in 2021 despite the loss of Isaiah McDuffie and Max Richardson, the Eagles' top 2 tacklers from last year. This team created 21 turnovers in 2020. We can expect there to possibly be even more in 2021. This team, with the amount of returning talent that comes back, should see significant changes in their numbers, significant decreases in their numbers, and should be much better this season than they were last year. Could essentially be a top 50 defense. We take a look at Boston College's schedule, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at it now. It's a team searching for their first 8-win season since 2009, which is extremely hard to believe. Extremely hard to believe. And when you look at the schedule, it's very favorable. It lines up perfectly for that to change in 2021. They opened the season against Colgate. Believe that's going to be a win. Nothing much discussed there. Same goes for the road game at UMass, a team that very well could be the worst team in the country yet again. They then travel to Temple in what should be a very intriguing, ACC, AAC matchup there. And if this was any other American team, I might say that Boston College needs to watch out. They need to be mindful. Again, these non-conference games, especially on the road, can always be tricky. We saw last year where Texas State nearly came to Boston College and pulled off an upset. So this is not a game the Eagles can afford to overlook. But I do believe it is a game that the Eagles will win. Temple struggled mightily in 2020, and I would not expect much for them to change in 2021. So just like that, Boston College is 3-0, halfway to bowl eligibility, halfway to matching last year's win total. They get an intriguing non-conference game again at home against Missouri. And like Boston College, Missouri was a team last year that I think surprised a lot of people with a brand new head coach. Eli Drinkwitz came into Columbia, took over a team that a lot of people didn't have any high expectations for, and went 500 in the SEC, going 5-5 in 2020. And you look at Missouri this year. 13 starters are back for the Tigers, including their quarterback, Connor Bazelak. 4 of their 5 top pass catchers from last year return for the Tigers. But the problem for Missouri is that last year they struggled mightily against pass-heavy teams. They allowed 245.8 passing yards per game in 2020. And when you look at what they did against some elite passing teams and the points they allowed, 51 points to Mississippi State, 49 points to Georgia, 48 points to Arkansas, 41 points to Florida, 41 points to LSU. While they did win 2 of those games, that's not very encouraging to see. Bill Jurkovec and Zay Flowers and this Boston College offense, they're going to be pass heavy. And I think they're going to have enough to exploit some weaknesses in this Missouri defense to the point where they get a quality win over an SEC opponent at home. And getting them at home is crucial. So we believe they do beat Missouri on September 25th to round out the month of September. They're undefeated, 4-0, going into a road game at Clemson to kick off October. And Boston College, at this point in time, when they play Clemson, will be a nationally ranked team, no doubt about it. They traveled to Clemson, where they led the Tigers 28-10 last year. They were beating the Tigers in Death Valley 28-10 with DJ Uiagalelei as their quarterback, as Clemson's quarterback. And after getting up by 18 points, they didn't score a single point the rest of the game. End up falling to the Tigers 34-28. This is an absolute complete rematch of last year. Same location, almost identical teams, because remember, Trevor Lawrence did not start for Clemson in that game. He was out due to COVID. So this is a very, very interesting game. It's not very often you see almost exact rematches 1 year apart. But you look at Clemson, guys. This team has 10 returning starters on defense. And that was their ultimate downfall last year. Major reason they lost to Ohio State in that semifinal matchup. This defense under Brent Venables, I don't think is going to be weak in 2021. I think they're going to be able to prove a point. And so I think this game against Clemson on the road is close for Boston College. I think it's close for them for at least a half, maybe even 3/4. But very similar to last year, Clemson pulls away and ends up winning this game by at least a touchdown. Might be even more. Because while we do say it's almost a rematch, these two teams are different in certain aspects. But we do believe Clemson at home in Death Valley gets the win. They hand Boston College their first loss of the year. 4-1 for the Eagles. They get their bye week and take on North Carolina State in a battle that we believe could determine who finishes second in the ACC Atlantic, because obviously Clemson is the heavy favorite, projected to finish first by many. They face North Carolina State coming off a bye, and that bye week is crucial, guys. We always talk about the Clemson hangover. Well, Boston College won't suffer that this year because they get that bye week there. They don't have to worry about playing a game right after a potential blowout loss to Clemson or a gut-wrenching loss to Clemson, one way or another. So when they play the Wolfpack at home, they're facing a team that, to me, on paper, is almost identical to Boston College. 17 returning starters back for the Wolfpack, a very solid passing attack led by Devin Leary, and a defense that's right around the middle of the pack, not just nationally, but in the ACC as well. But I look at this game at NC State, guys, who's also coming off a bye week, we should add, and I think, ultimately, when I see two teams that are relatively even, when I see two teams that really, on paper, some have a little bit of advantage here, but the other goes the other way, I look at home field advantage. Who has it? And it's Boston College. They get that in Chestnut Hill. I believe getting the bye week helps them out. I know you can say the same for NC State, but I believe across the board, this Eagles team is just a tad bit better than the Wolfpack, and home field advantage could be enough to send them over the edge. They beat the Wolfpack at home. They're 5-1, and to me, still a nationally ranked team, potentially a top 20 team in the country going into late October. They go on the road to face Louisville, a team they played last year and only beat by 7, 34-27. And we know how bad that Louisville team was in 2020. The defense actually showed slight improvement. It was the offense that sputtered under Scott Satterfield, and that was a major surprise for many. And the offense could sputter again if they can't find any consistency. Javian Hawkins is gone. Tutu Atwell is gone. Des Fitzpatrick is gone. They might even have quarterback questions if Satterfield decides to go with somebody else other than Mikael Cunningham. But the number one factor for Louisville that is going to really pay off big for them is the fact they return 5 starters on defense. 5 starters on defense, and Satterfield's done a decent job utilizing the transfer portal as well. 5 starters on defense, and last year's team for the Cardinals had the number 1 passing defense in the ACC. Louisville's passing defense was the best in the conference, and this team went 4-7. I believe Louisville bounces back, not necessarily in a big way, but but enough to get back to the postseason. And that passing defense is going to be a major reason why. Boston College, we know right now, can't run the ball. Louisville's secondary steps up like they did last year. They will win this game, and that's what we believe they will do. Boston College goes on the road and drops a heartbreaker to the Cardinals. What will be an upset for many. They go back on the road and face Syracuse. Last year, they only beat Syracuse 16-13. I expect a larger margin of victory this year. Boston College will defeat Syracuse on the road, a team that I don't have very high expectations for at all in 2021, and neither should you. Syracuse will struggle mightily. So they beat Syracuse, come home to face Virginia Tech on a Friday night, and this is a game where they fell to the Hokies 40-14 in 2020. Now, granted, that was early on in the year. Virginia Tech had this guy named Khalil Herbert, dominant running back transferring in from Kansas. He will not be there anymore. Virginia Tech's biggest issue right now is their offense. Is it going to sputter? Is it going to find some life? Not very much quarterback depth, not many big playmakers that they had last year. Virginia Tech's strength, again, is their defense. Their defense. And this team under Justin Fuente knows it's a make-or-break year for their head coach. And they know they're going to have to ride that defense if the offense can't pick anything up. Now look at this game again. Boston College, to me, right now, seems very one-dimensional. They seem very one-dimensional. Virginia Tech's defense is not. They're not one-dimensional. They can fly all around the field with 8 returning starters on that side of the ball. And I believe this Virginia Tech defense goes in, shuts down Phil Jurkovec. Their offense finds just enough life as BC's defense is just middle of the pack still right now. And I just don't think Boston College is to the point yet where they can contend against what I consider to be some of the ACC elites. And right now it's Clemson, North Carolina, Miami, and Virginia Tech. Those are my top 4 teams as of now in the ACC. And I don't know if Boston College is ready to contend there yet. Virginia Tech comes on the road and gets a big win against the Eagles. BC goes back on the road, takes on Georgia Tech. They beat the Yellow Jackets by 21 last year. And I'm telling you, this is a trap game. A heartbreaking loss at home to Virginia Tech. Now you go on the road to a Georgia Tech team that's improving. A Georgia Tech team that offensively is getting there with Jeff Sims and Jahmyr Gibbs. But again, Georgia Tech ranked 111th in their passing defense. They were one of the worst passing defenses in the country last year. I believe Zay Flowers goes off in this game at Georgia Tech, a team that's getting there under Jeff Collins, just not quite yet. Boston College gets a win. They then come back home to face Florida State. Many would write this off as a win for Boston College because on paper it's evident that they are the better team. But I'm going to say not so fast. You look at Florida State, 9 returning starters this year for the Seminoles on offense. 9 returning starters on offense, which is huge for Mike Norvell. So the offense should be flying. And if Jordan Travis is their quarterback, we know he's a dangerous dual-threat quarterback. Boston College struggles mightily. They did last year. They have in the past. They struggle mightily against dual-threat QBs. In addition to that, I look at Florida State this year and think they could be fighting for their postseason lives this late in the season. November 20th, they're going to be fighting for their postseason lives. A win against BC could clinch bowl eligibility, or it might just keep it alive for one more week. This will be a must-win, one way or another, for Mike Norvell and his Seminoles. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I believe they're going to come in, beat Boston College and Chestnut Hill, a team really that Florida State has dominated and owned for over a decade now. So I believe Florida State gets this crucial win at home for BC, and you're going to say, man, they lose to Florida State at home, they lose to Virginia Tech at home, those are ridiculous losses. Maybe they are, maybe you disagree, but I think when you look at it deeper, you understand why it's extremely a possibility. Boston College rounds out the year at home again against Wake Forest, and this is going to be a fun game, guys. I think it's going to be a back-and-forth, high-scoring game. 2 electric offenses, Sam Hartman, Jakari Roberson, Phil Jurkovec, Zay Flowers, 2 of the best quarterback-wide receiver duos in the conference. But BC has this game at home. Wake Forest is coming off a road game at Clemson. They might have that Clemson hangover. Boston College, Jeff Hafley know what's at stake in this final game of the year. And what I think is a back-and-forth, high-scoring affair, the BC defense finally comes up clutch in the end, defeats Wake Forest, and Boston College is going to finish 8-4, which means yes, we do believe Boston College will have an 8-win season for the first time since 2009. Jeff Hafley showed us something last year. In a COVID year with not a whole lot of talent, so much unknown, everything out there, they went 6-5, 5-5 in conference play. This team is going to be better than they were last year. The circumstances are better than they were last year. The schedule is better than it was last year. The Eagles start strong. Yes, they alternate wins and losses over the course of their final 7 games, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The Eagles will solidify themselves as the second best team in the ACC Atlantic. They will clinch an 8-win season for the first time since 2009, and the future is looking very bright in Chestnut Hill. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. As always, hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any of our other prediction videos. And like we mentioned earlier, make sure to go check out our expert picks, not just our college football package, but our NFL package as well. All of that can be found on our website, thegridironexpert.com, down in the description below as well. So make sure to go give it a look. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.